Hi, this is Lawrence Frontera, also known as a Punk with Toys on Instagram, and today we're going to take a look at the X-Men Marvel Legends Age of Apocalypse Magneto. And I'm going to say right now that this is the guy that I've been waiting for since I ordered Wave 2 or different, however I ordered it. This was the figure that I really wanted because when you looked at everything, he was really the one that seemed to have the most detail. He came with two different heads, two sets of hands, and then his magnetic stuff. It's kind of weird. I don't remember seeing too much. But I do think this figure is really nice. Quickly, take a look at the box. And there you have it. Not the old style. The Age of Apocalypse X-Men writing, Magneto. There he is on the side, and there you get a much better look at him. And again, I really do like this one. Now, he is part of the Colossus Build-A-Figure, but he does not come with anything for Colossus. That's probably why they gave him an extra head, which is good because you have the head, and then you now have a head with the helmet, which that's how I'll be displaying him. So, anyway, again, I think this artwork looks awesome. I really do. I just think even Magneto's an amazing looking figure to begin with. But, you know, you kind of change his deco for Age of Apocalypse. And in my opinion, you had a wonderful, wonderful looking character. So, here we have our Magneto. And this is him, obviously, helmetless. All right. I will say this, and I will touch on his legs, and to be honest, that is something I'm very disappointed in, to the point that I am considering contacting Hasbro to have a complaint about it, because his legs are honestly absolutely awful. And I'm not just talking about skinny, muscular, forgot to really train legs, but you'll see when I take a look at him. But he looks wonderful. You know, he has an ab crunch. You know, he's not pinless yet. Or he'll never be pinless, but not a pinless figure. Double jointed. He does have double jointed elbows, but again, he can only bend so much. For the most part, you know, he has his cape. He's a pretty plain figure till you kind of add the gauntlet / gloves and boots stuff. I actually got him to stand. This is surprising. We have a quick look at the helmet, or his face with the helmet on, his hair, his ponytails. Comes with two separate hands. These are the ones I'll actually be displaying him with. And then a couple of translucent magnetic effects. And they're actually different, which is kind of cool. So let's take a look at this figure really quick. And then you can decide if you want to add him to your Marvel Legends collection. Okay, quick another look at the box. X-Men, Age of Apocalypse logo. So just Magneto, Marvel Legends. Box looks the same. Here we have Apocalypse, just like on all the boxes. And then you have Magneto. And here we have the actual back picture. I think this would be an amazing poster, to be honest. I think he looks absolutely awesome. I think they did a really good job of blending the blue in with him and his reds. It really looks really nice. And obviously there are the characters for the Colossus Build-A-Figure wave. Alright, so now let's take a look at the figure. And move up a little bit closer. And we'll quickly take a look at, here's his masthead, which I think his masthead looks way better. Again, it's what I'll be using. Although, I don't want to say it looks way better. I just like it more. I actually think the helmetless head looks pretty sweet, to be honest. But I just like him with the mask or his helmet. So, it is a cool looking figure. Because of the hair, it will restrict how much you can move his head around because of the neck pivots and neck joints. Obviously, even though this is soft, it's only going to move so much. If it was just a ponytail, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Here you have his two hands that you pretty much would use for the magnetic effect, which I do think looks pretty cool, but it's just kind of weird. And now let's take a look at the figure. All right, there we go. And it's kind of hard to see, but his legs are absolutely awful. Let's pop his head off here. Let me get a better look like this. So, if you look here at the legs, I can say I'm not very fond of them. They almost look like, well, they're super weak, for one thing. Super weak. They just seem super flimsy. I mean, you think that maybe they've been sitting on one of those cargo ships for months, but you think they're actually sitting on a beach in the sun with how weak they actually are. It's not, they're not loose per se. They just seem soft and like they would break. And they bow out tremendously. So if you tried to just stand them in a position like this, he's not going to look nice. I was able to get him into some like battle positions that don't look that bad. So that doesn't really bother me, I guess. But that's one of the disappointing things to begin with. You can take a look at his boots. And I think the purple and the red look really nice. He's actually a very basic figure. If you get away from the boots and his gauntlets and the gloves, and obviously once you put the cape on, and then we will pop on the helmeted head so you guys can take a look and see how he looks once you put the helmet on. And again, let's see if we can raise this a little bit here. And as I said, you can only move his head so much. That hair is really going to keep it from moving back and forth. The problem with the helmet, I will say, is his eyes are just white. Now, I have a feeling that maybe because it's kind of like he's starting to use his magnetism. But once you put the cape on, and again, as I had mentioned about his cape here, and I believe, if I remember correctly, this was something he gave Rogue, so you can see they obviously have something very similar because of their connection in the comic. But he's a nice looking figure right there, other than his legs. And, you know, I don't want to complain too much, you know, about some of the stuff, because I'm able to get him in some okay poses. But the fact that just trying to get him to stand up straight and look proper definitely bugs me. Again, his legs, I don't know, they just bow out. And they just feel really, really weak. And maybe it's just one that I got. Hopefully, if you guys get it, you're not going to have the same thing. But other than that, the look of him, I think, looks really nice. The purple and this red just go really well together. You know, having two different helmets. And again, his magnetism, his different hands, again, ones that I'll be using on him. They look really nice. So there's a quick look at the figure. Again, he turns, you know, his boots actually turn here. But even when I go to move it, man, like the knee, you can just look at that. It just looks super, it's just super flimsy. God, it's almost like some of these retro G.I. Joe 4-inch figures. You know, when I pick him up and I look at him on camera from here, he doesn't look that bad. Once I stand him up, it's kind of like I'm standing here looking at it. And it drives me nuts. Honestly, it's driving me nuts. So anyway, let's wrap this up. Alright, so there you have it. That is your X-Men, Marvel Legends X-Men Age of Apocalypse Magneto. I really like the way this figure looks. I can't stress that enough. Again, just looking at him, he looks menacing. He looks mad. And remember, he's not evil. He's not bad. He's not bad in Age of Apocalypse. The only thing that I do not like, again, is the legs. And I guess I'm showing you the legs, and every time as I'm looking at it on camera, it doesn't look nearly the same or look bad like it does when I stand him and I'm looking at him. So maybe it's just the ones that I got. They just seem super flimsy. I can honestly say I don't remember any of my Marvel Legends, the G.I. Joe Classified, having flimsy legs. They almost feel like the girl legs because they're thinner. Maybe like the Motu female legs, like Tila and Evelyn. They seem to have kind of flimsy legs, but those as a smaller figure doesn't weigh nearly as much. So, and again, so anyway, I like the figure. Hopefully it's just me that has a bad experience with the legs. I'm going to pose them in a way that I don't really think is going to be an issue. I'm not a big fan of constantly contacting Hasbro. But if something isn't right, I am going to contact and let them know. And I did that with Breaker, and they took care of me. So if you have a complaint with Hasbro, you go online and you get a hold of them, you email them, and they will take care of you. I will say it was quick, painless. They sent me a different figure to replace the Breaker. And they actually let me keep the Breaker, which was actually pretty cool. But they sent me a different figure. So I'm assuming they would do that with any of their stuff because they want to stand by their product. They are the biggest toy company for the most part, other than Lego, I believe. But Lego is just Lego, which is crazy. But, you know, they have everything. They have all the properties of Star Wars, Marvel. They own G.I. Joe, and they own Transformers. You know, they're doing Ghostbusters now. So the fact is, if you have an issue with Hasbro, contact them. Tell them what it is. They'll ask you for specific things when you bought it, copy of the receipt, something on the figure, because they obviously don't want people just doing it. And it's understandable. And if you do a video, that's nothing that I told them. Hey, I do video, so I was able to post a link to it. I don't know if they watched it or not, but they had the proof right there that I'm not just BSing them. So anyway, there I rambled on. That's probably something I should have talked about a while back, but I didn't. And who knows if people are still here listening. If you are, just, hey, you know, take note. You have something. And I would do that with anything. Mattel, you know, anything that you have a problem with, contact Tactical Sport. You know, contact them and tell them the issue that you have, because most businesses want to stand by their product, and if you have proof that it was an issue, they're going to take care of you. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. This is the Marvel Legends Magneto. I think he's a wonderful looking figure. I really do. You know, the other thing that I keep looking at, and I'm not a customizer, but if you're a Joe fan, you could probably make a pretty sweet Serpentor out of here. Again, I'm not a customizer, and I'm not a Serpentor fan. So, but I kept looking at him going, oh, you can even kind of like, you have the helmet there already. Even though I know it's not a snake helmet, but they've done versions where it's not an exact snake helmet. Just saying, customizers, you get something that may work as a Serpentor. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to get out of here because I'm rambling, which means it's time for me to go. Anyway, give me a big thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Give me a follow on Instagram, A Punk with Toys. And it's time for me to go and for you to go out and toy hunt. Take care.